Welcome back to the Mayor's Update. We have a very special episode for you today.
Excellent. It's nice to be back. I hear you did a great job last week without me. I watched.
I survived.
And a number of thousands of people also watched you and Angela From the Vines.
Angela did a really good job.
Yeah. So welcome back to Mayor's Update. Special guest tonight on a special topic. But I'm going to introduce first Councillor Lori Baldwin-Sands, one of our hardworking councillors in the city of St. Thomas. But one of the other things she also takes on is physician recruitment and the chair of the Physician Recruitment Committee. And we're going to let her introduce Cheryl and tell us a little bit about what the Physician Recruitment Committee for St. Thomas and Elgin does.
Thank you very much, Joe. Good evening, everyone. I would like to introduce Cheryl Fish. She is our health recruiter, and we're here tonight to tell you a little bit about the health recruitment program.
Thank you, Lori. I guess we'll start off with maybe the purpose of the committee.
Sure.
And its focus is on recruitment activities which will attract new family physicians to the area and to support new family physicians as they integrate into our community. We stay current on issues affecting the delivery of primary health care to our citizens, and we assist with the development and implementation of programs for physician recruitment activities. We develop and maintain relationships with the St.Thomas Elgin County medical community. We liaison with provincial health organizations, and we support the retention of existing physicians by staying in touch, addressing issues and concerns, and showing our appreciation for the services that they provide.
Right. And so we know that Elgin St. Thomas has a similar need to a lot of Ontario right now. And so the recruitment of physicians to our area, especially after our announcements of the last couple of months of a lot of growth in St. Thomas and large industry coming to town, this will become even more a reason for, as new people come to St. Thomas, to take on some of those jobs. So tell us some of what's happened. I mean, that's the purpose of the committee. But tell us some of the events, some of the everyday, the day-to-day work that gets done. Lori, first you, then Cheryl, please.
We have some great activities that are happening in our community. One is Discovery Week that is going to happen in another couple of weeks. And that is where we welcome some of our medical students right into our community, and we show them and highlight the special things that you can do here in Elgin County and across St. Thomas. That's one of the events that we do. In the fall, we have scholarship programs that I'm very, very proud of. It's reaching out to students that are heading into medical school, whether they are from the city of St. Thomas or across Elgin County. And we provide scholarships and connections with them throughout their entire time that they are in medical school. And a couple of the things that we would like to do, I'll let Cheryl talk about how we're going to expand the scholarship program and have some innovations there before we go on.
Go ahead.
If I could just add to that a little bit, just to give you some background of what we actually have done with the scholarship programs over the years. In 2018, we awarded 4. In 2019, 5. We have 5 budgeted, and that's usually what we award. In 2020, 3. 2021, we got 5 again, and in 2022, we've done 5. So, and remember, those are all local students attending a medical school.
And so the thought, of course, is if they're from here originally and we help them with their schooling, odds are very good they're going to come here and hopefully set up a practice in St. Thomas at the end of that long term of medical training. Right?
We in the recruitment world believe that there's 3 primary predictors of where a physician's going to practice. And the first one is where they grew up. The second one is where they trained. And the third one is what their spousal requirements have that they'd like to join them in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I've been a part of the Discovery Week in the past. Certainly, it's not all of it, but part of it is having them come to St. Thomas and see some of the parts of St. Thomas and Elgin. A fun time usually at GTs. It's a great place to show visiting people who are graduating from medical school to come see what Port Stanley looks like in the summertime. I think that's a pretty good selling point for us. And so these are very unique, and I'm certain other communities are out there trying to do very similar things,
Sure.
and if not, stealing our good ideas and going out and doing it too.
Very much so, stealing our ideas. We've surveyed the students after they've attended. Remember, the hospital is the host.
Yep.
They job shadow with the doctors in the hospital departments,
Yep.
but they also go to the individual clinics.
Right.
And our family physicians are great for showing them. And what the students like is different here in St. Thomas than what it might be in London, is that they're right up the front when they're being showed a procedure or shown how to interact with a patient or whatever. They're in the front of the line, not 4 or 5 students back. And
Right.
that's what they comment about the most.
Yes.
I remember one particular young man, he was a little late getting to the Discovery Week down at GT's, and he was just so excited because he'd actually seen a baby being delivered.
Yeah.
So it's a world of experience for them. And remember, they're first and second year, so they're just getting started.
Yeah, it's a few years before we hope they make the choice that this is a great place to come and work. But Lori, tell us about your committee. There's a couple of other councillors that sit on it, but it's also with Cheryl being the recruiter. Tell us how that committee actually does some of its work too.
Perfect. We meet once a month. We have 2 members of St. Thomas City Council,
Right.
2 members of County Council.
Right.
We also have the CAO for the county and the CAO for the city as well. Cheryl is also a regular attender of those meetings. So we meet once a month for about 10 months out of the year, get together and discuss those ideas. But in addition, we also have 2 doctors that are members of our committee.
Well, that's
and,
good too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a member of the hospital and a member of the Home Builders Association. So we have a very strong collective, very good ideas on where the needs are for the community. And we're very nimble in our thoughts as well, because we bring that expertise to the table, but we also have that outside experience that we always have that communication level at the table as well.
Well, super. I want to talk to our folks at home. We'll take any of your questions tonight on any topic, but this is one that's really near and dear to our heart with the growth we're seeing in St. Thomas. So please ask us any questions you have. We'll also explain to you by your questions or even without it, some of how to reach out to a physician now if you're looking for one, those types of things. But we're pretty proud of the progress we've been able to show here in St. Thomas and Elgin because of this. And it is a joint effort between all of the county and the city of St. Thomas. So for you folks at home that want to ask a question tonight, by all means, jump on. Grayden will let us know when we have some questions and we'll move to it. Right? So you mentioned the Discover Week that's coming up, and that's really a fun time for them and for us from our community to meet prospective or medical students, prospective future doctors. But what was the next with the scholarship piece? Are we at the point, Cheryl, you read some date or some numbers of how many scholarships we've given out over say the last half of a decade, but those don't really come to fruition from a medical school point for at least even a couple more years, the first ones we talked about.
More than that.
Can we talk about, have we had some success with some of those people returning to St. Thomas or staying in St. Thomas?
We have had some, not as much as what we would like,
Right.
of course, but we have had some success because we've showed them not only the medical side, but we've also showed them the joys and the excitement about actually living and working in St. Thomas and Elgin County.
Well, and as you say, when they get a little bit of a special treatment at our great hospital, when they're here seeing what that's like, and they're all in some training at a university with other hospitals where you're right, there's large crowds of students being taught at the same time. This was quite special. I've had those conversations with some of our students when they're there on Discovery Week, and it's really quite unique for them to talk about and among themselves. Well, what did you get to do today? I get to, right, and as you say, well, I got to see a baby delivered, or I got to aid with this, and it's really quite it's an exciting learning experience with them, along with the medical school program they're already in. So
Remember, they have 4 years of medical school generally,
right,
and then they go into 2 years of residency
Yep.
before they're ready to do any kind of practice. And just recently, their school has decided that they might extend their residency program to be 3 years. So now we're looking at 7
another year to fill
Exactly.
in. But yeah, but you're right. It's better to have well-trained doctors, but come on, folks, we need them too. Right?
Now,
yeah.
Is it right? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Is it right that there are more spots being opened up now for doctors in Ontario?
Yes.
Yes, there is. They're trying to expand that. We've been advocating for that for a long time, and finally they're listening.
I did hear that the Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry at Western, and they have a branch also at Windsor University,
Yes.
is getting 10 or 12 more spots as part of that future program. But I smiled when I heard it, but then also realized there's that 7 or 8 years worth of training and residency that people have to go through still.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been saying for years to the provincial government and others, can we get some more people in the seats in the schools so that there'll be more coming out to help us fill the need? And I guess you'd share with me that the need that we're getting isn't just the growth, although that's a big part of what's happening in St. Thomas right now. But we have some fairly older docs that some of them have retired, and of course that leaves an opening for somebody to come to a full practice. But boy, we're losing some, at some years. Docs that are retiring, and they get to. They're allowed. It's okay.
I don't know if that. No.
Yeah.
We've got some survey results. That's one of the other
Okay.
things that the committee does, is that we've done 2 surveys.
Mm-hmm.
One to help educate some of our older physicians on the succession planning, and also just to get some data so that help us. When we did the first survey in 2014, 17.5% of our physicians were over the age of 65.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds dangerous to me.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a real eye-opener for everybody. And 62% of them were over the ages of 55. So you kind of... And in 2019, because we had a new FO, and a FO stands for a family health organization, open up with 6 new physicians joining us in St. Thomas, which was wonderful. The survey results were a little bit different. The majority of the physicians over 65 had thought about or set a date for retirement. The new FO had opened with 6 additional physicians. So then our numbers were very different. But we still have between 1% and 3% of our physicians that will be retiring in the next 2 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm. So we best prepare. Thank you for the work you do to make sure we are preparing for that future too.
Well, go ahead. I know a bunch of them, and they're coming back right now because they're needed.
Absolutely.
So they're retired, but then they realize that their former patients need them, so they'll come back and they'll do that. But that's not going to happen forever. So this program is really essential for us to get the healthcare we need. Now, one of the things we were talking about before the show got started was talking a little bit about if people are looking for a physician in St.Thomas Elgin County, what's the best way for them to access that care?
They really should be registering with Healthcare Connect.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just Google that Healthcare Connect, it'll walk you through the process of how you can you'll be able to speak with a nurse who will assess your condition at that time, and she will then put you on a list as to where what priority she could help you find a physician. That's one way. The other way is you can still obtain medical assistance if you were to go to the walk-in clinic at 2:30 for staff. That walk-in clinic is open to not only the physicians, the patients of the physicians in the Elgin FO, but you can also just off the street walk into that. You do not need an appointment, and you can walk in and get medical treatment there. There's also an online doctor you can talk to through Urix. So there's a couple of options, and of course your last result should be is to go to the Emerge.
Right.
If your condition warrants that.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys are listening for that, because I know that's a big one. It's hard sometimes.
It's been a question we've been asked, right? And we'll record the 4 steps. Here's the things you can do for sure. But certainly emergency is there for us if we need to have it. The best emergency care.
An award-winning emerge.
Yes.
The lowest wait times in
Yeah.
Ontario.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Our
We had the
emerge staff.
hospital here for a deputation on Monday night, and we learned a
Yes.
lot more about our own hospital. But we've also learned that as St. Thomas grows, our hospital needs to grow too. So we'll be looking at a lot of conversation over the next couple of years of how to help St.Thomas Elgin General Hospital, which is the hospital for all of Elgin County. Basically, we need to make sure as the city of St. Thomas and the county of Elgin that we're helping them plan forward too, as we plan.
And there's some talk about the hours for the walk-in clinic as well. And some people would ask that they increase.
They did. When the ministry renewed their contract, I think back in April of last year, they increased the number of after-hours spots that they have to. Most physicians have to do after-hours commitment, which is a 3-hour block, and that particular clinic needed to change from 7 to 9 after 3-hour after-hours blocks. So you have a little bit more access there.
Absolutely. And there's rumors of another walk-in clinic being planned. Is that just a rumor or is that a fact?
I can't respond to that. I don't know.
All right. We're going to get back to that
Well, that's
one.
you and me push for it.
Yeah.
and see what we can do to make it happen. Again, reminding our folks that are watching tonight already online, and we realize that the show does play over and over. So some of you may have questions that you're watching now that we're not live. Please ask your questions anyway on the stream, on the show. We get back to them the following week, and we'll talk to our guests about the right answers for them if we don't know, to make sure that next week we can follow up on questions asked this week.
One of my favorite things about our show is I kind of feel like our show is a bit of a buzzkill because you just get the facts instead of all the rumors.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't we want to do that, Grayden?
I know. So we're going to dispel all the myths here on the show. So if you do have any health questions, please let us know. We'll pass them on to our guests, and they'll make sure that you get the facts about healthcare in St.Thomas Elgin County.
And you're watching if we get any questions in.
Absolutely.
Right, great. Perfect.
So I guess one of the myths I'd like to dispel is the fact that it is a very fast process to recruit a new physician, because it isn't. In general, I would say it takes at least 2 to 3 years to recruit. Even if they're replacing a retiring physician, it can take that amount of time to be able to find somebody. And remember, we're looking for the right fit. We want somebody who wants to be here. We want somebody who is looking for what we have to offer and will be happy and will stay with us. Retention starts as soon as recruitment finishes.
And I know you started in 2007, so you haven't had a lot of time actually. Like it seems like you're like, oh, that's, and you're like, wait,
It's a
no,
long time, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a lot of time to find the doctors, the physicians that we need in our community.
Although we've been very successful. We've recruited, let me see if I can remember the numbers here. Lori, if you can help me find it.
Lots. No, sorry.
Just in the last few years, the number of recruitment seems to be accelerating due to the work that Cheryl has been doing.
Yes.
You are right that we have started in 2007, and that was based upon the needs that were brought forward directly by the Home Builders Association, saying that we are planning this growth in the community, and we need to know that there are going to be family physicians for the people that are migrating to this area or people that are staying in the community. That is going to be a need. So we need to know what the community is going to do to help to address those needs. And that is why we came up with the programs that we did. And we started with scholarships. We did Home for the Holidays, which is when our medical students come home around Christmas time. And we show them, it's been traditionally held at the golf course. So it's a great way for them to go and see what a beautiful golf course in our community is like. We take them to GTs for Discovery Week, but we're also hoping to take them through to other organizations in our community so that they get that experience of seeing what opportunities lie outside that work experience. So the life experience that we have here in beautiful Elgin County in the city of St. Thomas, it is second to none when you start bringing in those pieces. And one of the pieces that I like at Home for the Holidays is when the doctors, all in their medical student status, haven't even known each other. And that was a big surprise.
Yeah, we thought, well, they must know each other. They're all coming. No, they're from different places and
they're from different places
schools.
and at different schools and at different parts of that educational
Training
experience.
process.
So without them knowing each other, it was quite fun to see the connections that they were making outside of medical school, of their community basis, and how they were connected with people at the table. And that was a great experience to be able to share with them. And also in the summertime, having the summer and the winter program, showcasing what we can do here for them, and the incentive programs, etc. And I'll let Cheryl talk a little bit about those incentive programs.
Tell us a little bit more about that, the incentive programs. I know that we as a council and county council also looks at, once we have found a potential recruit, and as you say, that's not a short process either. We also, there's a number of offered incentives that we offer for people to actually come and set up practice here or take over someone else's practice.
Correct. There's we provide an incentive which is $33,000, and it's given as a forgivable loan managed by the city, and it's provided to a new physician to the area or a physician starting a new practice. Those basically the two criteria. You must use it to enhance your practice in some way. You can't just buy yourself a Bentley. And how they've used it in the past is they usually need to get an electronic medical record. The grads coming out of school now don't understand paper and pencil. It's just not in their vocabulary. So unless you have an electronic system for patient scheduling and treatment and results, that's the first thing they want. And some of our older physicians just didn't go down that road. And so that's where the incentive has really been helpful. They'll still take over their practice, keep their patients, but may be able to update the electronic medical record to help them do that more efficiently and more effectively.
And many are looking for that level of how a practice works now. It's what they've learned in school, so it's really where they want to head.
Well, this is where we also get the community involved. We found that there was the need, because so many doctors were retiring, and the need from the doctors, the new doctors coming in, were saying we need to transfer to electronic. And Cheryl has actually actively gone out and spoken to various educational organizations about offering that type of service, so that so that it's a good match and a good way to work together to make sure that we are starting to look at problem solving and being ahead of the curve for the doctors wanting to come to our community.
And a smooth transition from paper to electronic. And it's of no charge to them. This Partnering for Quality is an organization that will help them do that, because some of them see that as a barrier, or also a huge burden on top of their already very busy workload to try and go to electronics. But they've done it very successively, and they're very happy that they've done it.
Absolutely.
One thing I forgot to tell you about the incentive thing is that we also have, with that, we ask for a return of service of 4 years. So you've got to remain
We'll
practicing.
offer the incentive, but we want you to stay here and practice.
Yes, absolutely.
And
we found that
us.
works.
We're committing to
Absolutely.
you commit to us.
Perfect.
I think of the 35 that we've handed out over the last, since 2008, we've had 35, well over $1 million. I think we've had one individual that didn't want to stay. And remember, if you're not happy here, we don't want you to stay and be unhappy. So what an arrangement was made to alleviate that.
If I'm not mistaken, life kind of catches up too. People make whether they're personal relationships through medical school, and then all of a sudden their thought was they were going to go back to Timmins and go home and do what they want, but they've met someone from St. Thomas, and so that also works out very well too. So it helps us both ways, but it does occasionally someone is going to go live where their spouse or their upcoming spouse is going to live. So
or they wait in limbo to find out. Sometimes their spouse is graduating at the same time they are, so they wait and they'll do a locum. While they do that. And that's been a great way for new physicians to try on a practice before they commit to it. A locum means you'll cover for that physician for vacation, sick time, whatever.
So you kind of get to test drive the practice or test drive the position. And I would see where that would work out here, because we know the friendly nature of our folk, so that would work. But and it may prevent them from going other places. Let's do more.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. So we're almost coming to the end of our time here. But Lori, I wanted to ask one more question. As a member of council that's on this committee, how does council help this committee do their work?
The best that this council has done is to provide the supports that we need.
Mhm.
And that ongoing support, yes, we give them regular updates, but that ongoing, unwavering support and understanding the need that we have in the community to continue to do the work that we do, and sometimes accelerating that work when opportunities do arise. I give the credit to our members of council and to the mayor for providing that whole climate inside this council chambers to make sure that we have that support when we need it, and it continues.
Well, I'm very proud of our council and how you all work together to make things happen in St. Thomas. It's been incredible to watch.
Well, it's
Thank you.
fun.
Yeah. Well, it's good with it.
And this is an integral part. We may want to go out and attract a big industry. We may want to pave a certain road. We may need to, as a council, do many of those things that councils have to do. This one kind of rises to the top, and Laurie keeps us very well informed as to the goodness that is happening because we have the Physician Recruitment Committee working in the county and in the city of St. Thomas. And we don't try to put a wall anywhere. You can, all works, and we want to show you how beautiful it is everywhere. But it's great to come out to St. Thomas.
All right, and now we've got to run through a couple items of business. We got to go through our events. We have a couple questions, but if you guys would just join us and kind of like if there's something you can answer, then
yes. And it's Mother's Day weekend, so
Absolutely.
Don't forget if you're coming home to visit
goodness.
your mother and you're in medical school, this is a great chance to come and see us here now too. Sorry, thought I'd connect the two.
Absolutely, and From the Vines is having a Mother's Day brunch as well.
Yes.
So they're one of our new sponsors. So check them out.
Great, perfect.
We've got Rumble on the Rail, which we've talked about. This is the Championship City Boxing Club, and that's on May 13th. So that's coming up fast. We've got the season reopening of the Elgin County Railway Museum, which is on the May 27th. We've got the Ice Box, which is now open in the parks, which is very exciting.
Every one of our concessions in the park is the Ice Box group is now doing all of those. We visited. I visited the Doug Terry complex on the weekend and got to see them in action.
I love it. I've seen a bunch of people posting on Facebook that they're quite enjoying actually being able to get food there.
Right. It's been too
vendors.
many years that we've not been able to do that, so it's been great.
And then we've got Project G-Force is on demand at the historic Princess Ave Playhouse in in St. Thomas. Goodness me. May 26th to the 27th.
That's the next play? Great.
Yeah. It's a comedy troupe. It's hilarious. They're kind of like they're improv that do skits. It's phenomenal. Lavender Farm. This is a Sparta Lavender Farm. Its opening weekend is this Saturday, May 13th, and then Sunday, May 14th.
Our own market's opening week.
I got it right
You're
here.
stealing my thunder. I was going to say
Jump
it's
in,
Mother's
man.
Day weekend, so the Horton Farmers Market
Absolutely.
is ready to open.
Right. And we know it's May, but the market is always full of great surprises, even
Love the
though
market so
it's
much.
later in the year for many of the vegetables. We're well started now, so excellent.
Absolutely. We've got train rides at the Port Stanley Railway, the terminal rail, and they've got what they call Tunes on the Train. Celine Murray is playing on the 18th of May.
So they're all railway songs?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
I'm going to go with that thought.
Kettle Creek Conservation Authority has their Victoria Day fireworks at Lake Whitaker on May 20th. Yep. And we've got a charity euchre tournament, which is sponsored by or hosted by Urix, and the funding is going to supporting violence against women services in Elgin County.
I played in the euchre tournament last year, and it is a great deal of fun. Right? If you've never done one of those types of, you don't really have a partner. You get a new person each game, and so you go there and you meet so many people all night long, and that you might not have otherwise met. So it is a great fundraiser by the Urick family. Mr. Urick used to run this, and the store has now taken it over and made it even bigger and better. So.
Absolutely. And we've got Chase the Ace, which is a fundraiser for our local Legion.
Yep.
So Tony Bendel is going to be on next week to talk a little bit about that. So contact the Legion via the Facebook page to get all the information. They have one special prize that's worth $40 from Greek and... Oh, no, wait. It's another one that's still available. The Greek and Go one is gone. So go on their Facebook page and check it out. They have a fairly high payout right now, I think.
Yes.
So, and you can help the Legion at the same time. I think that's okay. That's all my events there. And then we have a quick question about the Mural Festival from Beth Douglas and whether or not the Mural Festival could become an annual event.
Well, we think St. Thomas will be well known for its murals now. Last year we held a large event because some 20 murals were completed in the year or years before last year. There is not a large mural event this year because our downtown is under construction and many of the murals are in this spot. But there are 3 new murals being put up this year. And so we'll certainly signify them and have some fun around them. But I love your idea of having an annual mural fest.
Montreal does it. Why can't we?
Well, then for sure we can do it. If Montreal can do it, a small community like theirs can do it.
Right? I mean, they basically, yeah, compared to us.
Yeah. Well, we have more fun.
Well,
But they have
obviously.
2 languages, so yeah.
So the other question from Beth was about the intersection that's at Center and Elgin, because there have been several accidents that happen
Yeah.
there. Center Street's become,
Yeah.
especially construction.
It's the way to pass the downtown because of construction. And a hardworking council this weekend, or this Monday, decided that we would put temporary 4-way stops at Elgin
That
and
was the
Center
question.
and for Princess and Center, and they went up today.
Amazing.
So they're in place. Thank you. We'll listen. You just got to share with us, and we'll do it too.
I love it. All right. Well, we are past time, but
Uh-oh.
I want to thank all of our folks. We have a new sponsor, Ainslee Tracey, who's an amazing realtor within St. Thomas. So she's now helping support our show. So Ainslee,
Great.
thank you.
Ainsley.
If you're looking for a house, check her out, and she will be able to get you into that home. My cousin bought one from her; he loves it, and it's just fantastic. I almost bought a house through her as well, but it got sold. It was over by the library before I was able to get it. But that was way back when. Now I have a house.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for joining us this week. Please if you've been watching this week, tell your friends to go and watch the reruns. I don't like to call them reruns, but I haven't any other way to get
our classic shows,
Yeah, classic.
like they're like Turner Classic Movies for St.Thomas, Ontario.
And occasionally that happens, Grayden, where someone calls me up or messages me and says, "I was looking at Mayor's update from 2021, and you said this." And I have to remember whether I did or didn't. But it's great that people are going into the archives and checking out what we've done in the past.
No, and in 20 years, these are going to be really valuable pieces of history. I have no doubt.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight, and we'll let you go. And please join us next week for Mayor's Update. And we thank Cheryl and Lori for
So much.
coming on tonight with us and sharing this important part of the growth of our community.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.